Now that I've discussed several aspects of the Book of Mormon from the Old World setting in Saudi Arabia, I'd like to discuss some more information on the Mesoamerican context of the Book of Mormon to show you that the Mesoamerican context is also building up steam. Out of the Journal Book of Mormon Studies, Volume 14, Number 2 for 2005, Johnny Clark has some very interesting things to say about the Book of Mormon. This is a pretty good edition. Archaeology, Relics, and Book of Mormon Belief by Johnny Clark. He discusses the idea of the various types of information that Joseph Smith had, and how Joseph Smith himself said in the Times and Seasons, the Nauvoo newspaper, that after he had read John Lloyd Stephens' Incidents of Travels in Central America, Chiapas, and the Yucatan, the first popular English book to describe and illustrate the Maya ruins, Joseph Smith identified some of those cities down there that he saw in the pictures as Book of Mormon cities. He says this on page 40. Very interesting how Joseph Smith identifies the Guatemala region as having some Book of Mormon cities down there. The book amazed the English-speaking world, of course, as it should have. Joseph recorded the significant issues. Since our extract from Stephen's book was published, we have found another important fact relating to the truth of the Book of Mormon. Central America is situated north of the Isthmus of Darien, and once embraced several hundred miles of territory from north to south. The city of Zarahemla stood upon this land. That is Guatemala. The city of Zarahemla stood upon this land. It will not be a bad plan to compare Mr. Stephen's ruined cities with those in the Book of Mormon. Joseph Smith himself identified a Mesoamerican setting in the Times and Seasons, and they show the extract from the Times and Seasons. I've got this on video, on DVD. I have that particular series of the Times and Seasons, as well as the Millennial Star, the Elder's Journal, and so on and so forth. Joseph believed Maya archaeology vindicated the Book of Mormon. His placement of Zarahemla in eastern Guatemala implied that the land southward described in the Book of Mormon was north of Darien, as Panama was then called. Thus his commentary presupposes a smallish geography that excluded South America. The prophet himself regarded the location of Book of Mormon lands as an open question and one subject to archaeological confirmation. In the past 50 years, friends and foes have adopted Joseph's plan of comparing ruined cities with those in the Book of Mormon. And both sides believe that archaeology is on their side, both the Mormons and the anti-Mormon critics. So consider the argument against the Book of Mormon, circulated recently by an evangelical group in pamphlet form. The Bible is supported in its truth claims by the corroborating evidence of geography and archaeology. That assertion cannot be said for the Book of Mormon. That's clearly false these days, however. Several decades of archaeological research funded by LDS institutions concentrating in Central America and Mexico have yielded nothing that corroborates the historic events described in the Book of Mormon. They are, to say the least, that's on page 42, they are, to say the least, overstating their case. That information is out of date, and it's absolutely false. And John Clark shows you this. Here is the real issue with archaeology, the Book of Mormon, and the Bible. Archaeology and geography support the Book of Mormon to the same degree and for the same reasons that they support the Bible. Now, before you laugh, hear this out. Both books present the same challenges for empirical confirmation, and both are in good shape. Many things have been verified for each, but many have not. Critical arguments specialize in listing things mentioned in the Book of Mormon that archaeology has not found. Rather than cry over missing evidence, I consider evidence that has been found. What the critics will focus on is what hasn't been found. That's legitimate. However, you can't extrapolate from that alone that nothing is found. That's false. The pamphlet lists 8 deficiencies. First, that no Book of Mormon cities have been located. And last, that no artifact of any kind that demonstrates the Book of Mormon is true has been found. This last assertion is overly optimistic in suggesting that such material proof is even possible, especially in Mesoamerica, when things were so almost totally destroyed. All you have to do is read the history of Mesoamerica to see that, for Pete's sake. No artifact imaginable, even a room full of artifacts, could ever convince dedicated critics that the Book of Mormon is true. The implied claim that the right relic could prove the book's truth beyond all doubt is too strong, and it underestimates human cussedness. I like that, human cussedness. Boy, there's a lot of that out there, isn't there? Moroni could appear tomorrow with the gold plates, the sword of Laban, and the Liahona in hand, and this would not satisfy public demands for more proofs. Think that through. Because we've shown you Nahum. We've shown you the Trail of Lehi in Saudi Arabia. We've shown you Shazer. We've shown you Bountiful. We've even shown you how ships can be built. And you're still not believing the Book of Mormon. The logical challenges with the first assertion that no cities have been located are more subtle. Now, understand this. This is important. The Book of Mormon cities have been found. Book of Mormon cities have been found. They are well known. And their artifacts grace the finest museums. They are merely masked by archaeological labels such as Maya, Olmec, and so on. The problem then is not that Book of Mormon artifacts have not been found, only that they have not been recognized for what they are. That's the problem. That puts a different light on the whole subject, doesn't it? This is on page 42. You would do well to consider John E. Clark's article. It's free on the internet. There's no excuse for ignorance, folks. This information is completely free on the internet. If we stumble onto Zarahemla, how would we know? The difficulty is not with the evidence, but with the epistemology. There's the difficulty. One last point about significant evidence. The hypothesis of Joseph Smith's authorship of the Book of Mormon demands that truth claims in the book be judged by what was believed, known, or knowable in Joseph's backyard in the 1820s. The book's description of ancient peoples differ greatly from the notions of rude savages held by 19th century Americans. The book's claim of city societies was laughable in Joseph Smith's day, but no one's laughing now. Just look at all the ancient cities they've discovered. No one laughs about that these days. They were assuming in western New York that the whole area, all of North and South and Central America, was like the North American Indians. Nothing's further from the truth. As the city example shows, the lower the probability that Joseph Smith could have guessed a future fact, the stronger the likelihood he received information from a divine source. Consequently, the most compelling evidence for the authenticity is the book is that which verifies unguessable things recorded in the Book of Mormon. The more outlandish, the better. And there are some good ones. See, this is what Nibley's article decades ago on howlers in the Book of Mormon was all about. I mean, jaredite barges and shining stones, that's utterly ridiculous. Writing on metal plates, that's silly and stupid. None of that's laughable these days. We've discovered ancient sources discussing just those facts, as Nibley himself has shown in his approach to the Book of Mormon and since Cumorah and the world of the Jaredites. Very significant information has come out now